Okay, so before we move on, I just want to point out that I have a couple of instances down here that are running, and figured out the reason for that is that I forgot to do close all documents here. Closing all documents without save. You have to have that in order to close everything down before continuing. Okay, so now this stuff here is creating a line, and we want to save this line to our lines array. So what we're going to do here is just do lines I equal to that, and this will be populated because we're running from I is equal to 0 to endpoints minus 1, which is the same thing as this. Okay, and then we're returning the lines, and we are closing the sketch. So that's good. Then, of course, because we're returning something here, we should also grab it on this other side. Dim lines as sketch line down here equal to create center line. And don't need this. You can just do this. Let's see what happens if you run this. Press on generate. It has populated this with 4 lines. So now that this is done, we can continue with the next step, which is to create a profile. So what we want to do is the following. Let's just do everything in here, and then we can move it to a function later. So we want to grab the first line. So we will do line 0 dot select false, like so, and then we also want to create a point. So let's try to do that in a single go. Start get start point 2. So this is a point, and then dot select true. Let's see if this works. Otherwise we have to create a point and then doing that on it explicitly. So again, let's run this. F10, 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 and let's see here. Yep, there it works. We have our line selected, then we have the point selected. Alright, abort. Now we want to do the plane as entity, so we can do dim plane as entity equal to model dot create plane at plane per curve and pass point, and origin at curve true, auto size true, like so, and we want to select this point, plane, select this plane, plane dot select false. Yeah, let's run this. Let's do small steps in order to verify that everything works. Open this, and you can see here that this is our first line. This is the point, the start point, and this is the plane that has been created on there. So that works. Can minimize this, and now we can take the sketch manager and insert a new sketch. So sketch manager dot create or insert sketch false, like so, and then sketch manager dot create circle create circle, there we go. So let's do this on the x-axis. Set the origin to 0, and then the radius in the x direction should be profile outer radius. Profile outer radius 0 and 0, like so, and another one. Just copy this down here, and this is profile inner radius, and then exit the sketch, insert sketch, true, like so. And lastly, we can select the sketch, model dot extension dot select by ID 2. We want to hide the plane, so plane 1, plane 0, 0, 0, append false, 0 and nothing, 0, like so. And then model dot blank ref geometry hides this selection. Okay, let's run this. Press generate and loop through. Let's see here, there's a sketch being created, good. First one, second one, exit sketch, select the plane, hide the plane, done. All steps worked. Okay, so this is creating the profile. So now we can move this to a function. So we select, and well, we can do it manually. And this is actually a sub because it doesn't return anything. Yeah, because we're not going to use the plane later, and we can always do select by ID. So sub or private sub create profile, and then we can move all of this stuff in here. And now we realize there's a problem because we have our lines have to be passed, and yeah, so we're going to do more stuff with lines. We have to create the fillets as well. So we can make a choice now. Either we can pass this into our create profile and take care of it here, or we can make lives easy for us and just take this and make it a global variable and get rid of this. Create center line has to be modified, so you're going to create center line, make this a sub, and get rid of the return, like so. There's lines, and we are not gonna create this, we're gonna redim this, redim and lines, like so. So we are redimensioning our lines because we have created it, but we don't know how big it should be. So we have redimensioned it in the function once we know how big it should be. And we have created the center line, so we can close this down. And then we are taking lines and working with that in create profile. And of course now we have to create the fillet. So let's create a fillet before actually we create a profile. So the fillet, how should that be? Well, we have to loop over all lines, right? We have to select 2 lines and on 2 lines we apply a fillet command. So how many lines do we have? Well, we can compute that by lines dot length. So we can do 4 I is equal to 0. Let's do this for like so. Index I is equal to 0, 2 lines dot length minus 1, because lines dot length will be 4, and we're going to 0, 1, 2, 3, like so. And yeah, so we're going to do exactly not exactly the same, but something that is very similar to what we did in create center line. If I is end lines minus 1, then the last line, the second line, will be lines plus 1, and if not, then it will be the first line. So we can take this code or just write it here. So we have line 1 equal to lines, well, I, because this is our current line, and then we have line 2 equal to lines I plus 1, and of course line 1 has to be dimensioned properly, so dim line 1 is, we can do it outside, so dim line 1 as sketch line, dim line 2 as sketch line, like so. Okay, so this is only going to be done if this condition applies. If line start length minus 1, if I is less than lines dot length minus 1 matters. You can just move this in here, like so. And since this is a one-liner, we can actually put it here, get rid of this. Okay, but it's not, there's actually else there as well, so else. So if we are at the very end, then line 2 is equal to line 0. Lines 0. There we go. Okay, so now we have at the very end here, we have 2 lines selected, or we have 2 lines chosen. Now we have to select them. So we have to do line 1 dot select false, and line 2 dot select true. So, and let's see, what was the command for creating a sketch fillet? That was model. Yeah, so we do model dot sketch fillet 2, which is bend radius, constraint corner says short 0, and that's it basically. So now we will loop through this and see what happens. Alright, so we can clean this up a little bit more by doing comma line 2. Okay, so start, generate, and so I is going from that to length is 4, -1 is 3, so that makes sense. So there we go, line 1 and line 2 are selected. So this is false. There you go, this is selected. And this is true, that one is selected. Create band radius. And nothing happened here. Let's see here, model, sketch, fillet 2, band radius 0. What seems to be a problem? Was the second argument? Did I forget some? So let's rerun this. Select, both are selected, and still nothing. Yeah, so this is a problem because, well, what are we doing? We're trying to create a sketch fillet outside of a sketch, and that's not possible. So what we really need to do is take this stuff and cut it into the create line procedure right after we're done creating this, before we exit the sketch. Put it in there, and of course we should have lines here, right? So nothing changes, this still works, and we can put a breakpoint here and rerun the code. And of course, yes, this runs. Get in here, select both of them, both are selected, sketch fillet is created, and move to the next one, select, see here, 2 are selected, and sketch fillet is created, move to the next 2, sketch fillet, and now for the last one, line 1 is I, it's the third one, and of course this is not longer true, so we're at the last one, which means that line 2 should be the first line. Select the first, which is this one, and select the second, which is that one. Run the fillet, and there we go. Remove the breakpoint and exit center line. Now create a profile, which still works. So the line has not changed, it's still line 2 or line 1. It's just that it has been modified because there's a new sketch segment in there. So our profile is created at the right place. It's just that I see here that it is just one of them. Let's see what happened to the other one. Create profile. We have to debug that. Create profile, go in here, profile outer radius, profile inner radius. This is 0.8 and this is 0.6, 0.8. So this should work. Let's see why it doesn't. We will rerun it. Generate. Let's see what we have. There's the plane. Create a sketch. It's created. Create a circle. It is created. Create a second circle. It is also created. Insert a sketch. It is inserted. Select plane 1. It's selected. Hide it. It is hidden. So now we can see both of them. Okay. I'm not sure why it was not working the first time. So that's the profile. Can put it here. And now the very last thing to do is to create the actual geometry, the swept feature. So we can go back here and see how we can do that by just copying this code. Copy that in here. So sketch 1 is still sketch 1, and 3D sketch 1 is still 3D sketch 1. We have both of them. We have our feature manager. We don't really need that because we have already created it before. And protrusion swept. It's just called like this. So we can stop and run, press generate. And it did actually run the whole thing because we didn't have any debug breakpoint. So we're running. Here are both selected, and then the protrusion is created here. And run continue, and that is done. So the geometry is automatically created using our points. And this is really general, so we can change the values here, and everything will be fixed. So, and for the very last thing, what we want to do is probably read these inputs here and update these. So I'm gonna do that in the next video.